Hello again, my friend. It is so good to have you here as the world quiets down. Tonight, I want you to imagine a sea that has no coastline, a place where the water itself holds you in a gentle embrace, much like your bed right now. So settle in, let your body sink into the mattress. Allow your breathing to become slow and even, and let your mind drift toward a world of calm curiosity. Ready? Let us begin. Over the next few minutes, I will share with you the quiet wonders of the Sargasso Sea, one gentle fact at a time. There is no need to remember anything, just let your imagination wander and rest. If these sleepy journeys bring you peace, please subscribe so I can find you again whenever you need a calm companion. Now, let us drift into our first fact. Most seas are marked by shores and coastlines, but the Sargasso Sea exists purely as a slow, rotating embrace of ocean currents. This is a gyre, a great and gentle whirlpool that cradles a vast expanse of sapphire water, so blue it almost looks like a mirror for the sky. It sits in the North Atlantic, held softly in place by the Gulf Stream and other quiet currents. There are no rocks or beaches to anchor it, just the endless rhythmic dance of the sea itself, creating a peaceful sanctuary that feels miles away from anywhere else on Earth. The sea takes its name from the Sargassum seaweed, a golden brown plant that floats in shimmering mats across the water's surface. Unlike plants rooted in soil, these forests drift freely, carried by the softest pull of the tide. They form a floating world, a kind of raft that becomes a sanctuary for countless tiny beings. Imagine looking down and seeing a gentle meadow of amber and bronze, swaying slowly under the sun, each blade a home for a creature so small you might miss it if you blinked. It is a mobile garden, never still, yet always welcoming. Deep within this strange sea, a mysterious nursery unfolds for creatures of great endurance. Both American and European eels travel thousands of miles from freshwater rivers to spawn in these calm waters. It is an epic, silent pilgrimage, driven by instincts we still do not fully understand. After the long journey, the tiny leaf-like larvae are born, and they begin to drift peacefully back toward the coastlines of distant continents. They float on the currents, so fragile and translucent, slowly retracing the path their parents took, carrying the secret of this hidden birthplace in their very being. The water here is renowned for its striking, crystalline clarity. Because the currents keep the sea so calm and still, it often reflects a deep, luminous blue that seems to go on forever. On a quiet day, you can see sunlight filtering down through the depths in soft, dancing rays, as if the ocean is lit from within. There is a profound silence in this clarity, a sense that you could look down and see straight into the heart of the Atlantic. The light moves gently, like slow music, painting the water with shifting patterns that soothe the eyes and quiet the mind. Within the floating forests of Sargassum, a specialized ecosystem has quietly evolved over eons. Here, creatures have adapted to live their entire lives without ever touching land or the seafloor. Tiny crabs and shrimp, perfectly blending with the amber hues of the seaweed, drift in the rhythmic swell. They are colored like the golden brown fronds, so in tune with their world that they become invisible to predators. It is a complete community suspended in the blue, a hidden metropolis where every inhabitant moves to the slow, steady pulse of the ocean itself, forever cradled by the sea without shores. Long ago, in the age of exploration, the Sargasso Sea was a realm of quiet mystery and whispered fear among sailors. Their ships, reliant on wind and current, would sometimes glide into this region and slow to an almost dreamlike pace. They spoke of the sensation as being held in a golden embrace, as the thick, sun-warmed mats of Sargassum seaweed brushed softly against the wooden hulls. This gentle entrapment was not violent but serene, like being cradled by the ocean itself. It was a place where the boundaries between myth and reality blurred, and the creak of timber was the only sound in the vast stillness. The sailors felt a mix of awe and unease, for here, nature showed its power in the most delicate way. Today, we understand more about this mysterious sea, seeing it not as a trap, but as a sanctuary. For the migratory sea turtles, the Sargasso Sea is a vital resting point on their long voyages. They glide through the warm, clear waters with movements so slow and graceful. They seem like shadows drifting in a tranquil dream. Among the floating gardens of seaweed, they find shelter from the open ocean and a bounty of small marine life to sustain them. Here, in this quiet nursery, they can rest and grow, undisturbed by the world's haste. The turtles often surface to breathe, breaking the glassy water with barely a ripple, before descending back into the golden green depths. Their time here is a chapter of restoration, a vital pause in their epic migrations across the Atlantic. The air above the Sargasso Sea is a palpable presence, warm and heavy with the scent of salt and sun-warmed kelp. It drapes over you like a soft, humid blanket, carrying whispers of distant salt flats and the rich, earthy aroma of the seaweed forests below. In this place, there is a profound stillness that seems to stretch time, where the horizon melts together, blurring the soft blue of the water with the pale blue of the sky. It is hard to tell where the ocean ends and the heavens begin, and the world feels both vast and intimate. This quiet, suspended atmosphere invites a deep, meditative calm that settles into your very bones. The occasional call of a seabird might pierce the silence, but it only emphasizes the overwhelming quiet that reigns here. From a scientific perspective, the Sargasso Sea acts as a gentle collector for the ocean, a calm center in the vast Atlantic gyre. Here, the currents converge in a slow, spiraling dance, gathering floating objects from across the entire basin. It is a natural archive where pieces of wood, seeds, and even messages lost at sea drift together and linger in a quiet, eternal circle. This accumulation happens not with chaos, but with a soft patience, as the sea curates its collection over decades and centuries. Watching this process, one imagines the journeys these objects have taken, each with a silent story held in the golden weave of the Sargassum. It is a reminder of the ocean's memory, how nothing is truly lost, but instead is gently held in this liquid library. As the sun begins to set over the Sargasso Sea, the world undergoes a quiet transformation. The surface of the water turns into a vast mirror of gold and violet, catching the last light like polished glass. The floating forests of seaweed sway gently in the evening breeze, their rhythmic motion matching the soft, deep breathing of the ocean. There is no other sound, just this peaceful sighing, as the sky deepens from lavender to indigo. It is a moment of pure, unspoken poetry, where nature whispers its secrets to anyone who will listen, and the day folds into night with a tender grace. The horizon seems to hold its breath, and in that pause, you feel a connection to something ancient and eternal. Imagine a sea unlike any other, a vast liquid realm not hemmed in by sandy shores or rocky cliffs, but defined entirely by the silent, sweeping dance of ocean currents themselves. This is the Sargasso Sea, cradled in the heart of the North Atlantic by the gentle, encircling arms of four great swirling streams. They hold it softly, in a perpetual quiet embrace, forging a floating sanctuary so still that it feels almost separate from the world's wilder waters. Here, in this limpid blue expanse, the very notion of a boundary becomes fluid and dreamlike. It is a place where the water is held, tenderly, in motion but at peace. The name of this extraordinary sea comes from the golden-brown Sargassum seaweed, which drifts across its surface in serene, sun-dappled meadows. These are not anchored forests but wandering groves, floating freely with a slow, weightless grace. The fronds weave into dense, honey-hued mats that become a drifting world for tiny life, a nursery cradled on the ocean's breast. Countless miniature creatures seek shelter here, born into the soft, suspended thickets. Each floating island of weed is a universe in miniature, pulsing with the quiet, hidden industry of survival, a delicate ecosystem adrift on the quiet breath of the earth. And into this warm, still haven, travelers come from impossibly far away. The American and European eels sense a call we can scarcely imagine, and they leave the familiar fresh waters of distant rivers, journeying thousands of silent miles across the open ocean. They slip through the deep blue darkness, guided by an ancient internal map to find the very place they were born. In the soft shadowed depths of the Sargasso Sea, they complete their life's circle, a rhythmic, timeless cycle of migration and renewal. It is a quiet underwater rite that has unfolded here for millennia, a story written in the movement of water and life. The water itself feels almost otherworldly, an ethereal, crystalline blue so pure it seems to glow from within. The sea is astonishingly calm, holding a profound stillness that feels like a held breath. Because there are no land masses nearby to churn the air, the surface becomes a flawless mirror. It reflects the sky with such silent, polished precision that the horizon can subtly dissolve. You might imagine standing there, surrounded by a shimmering glass, where the boundary between sky and sea is nothing but a gentle, wavering suggestion of light. It is a place of immense, quiet clarity. And within those floating golden meadows, tiny life finds its whole world. Small crabs and near-transparent shrimp live out their entire existence in the soft, undulating embrace of the Sargassum mats, drifting gently with the ocean's own patient breathing. They have never known a rock or a reef, only the safety of these amber fronds. There is a profound, sheltered simplicity to this life, hidden away from the vast, wild blue world that surrounds them, finding everything they need in this one floating, temporary island that is, to them, the entire universe. In the age of sail, ships would sometimes encounter a strange and windless realm where the sea lay smooth as glass. This was the horse latitudes, a belt of calm that could trap a vessel for days, the sails hanging limp and silent. Sailors whispered of a floating garden, a vast golden meadow adrift on the water, a place that seemed to belong more to myth than to the Atlantic itself. They imagined great mats of seaweed stretching to the horizon, a tangled wilderness that no wind could disturb, a world suspended between sky and abyss. It was a view that inspired both wonder and a quiet unease, as if the ocean had decided to keep its secrets close. The secret to this buoyant wonder lies in the Sargassum's tiny, berry-like bladders filled with air. These natural balloons, no larger than a child's fingertip, hold the plant aloft in a delicate dance with the sun. Each frond becomes a miniature sunbather, soaking in the warm Atlantic light while drifting freely, unmoored from any seabed. It is an elegant solution, a gentle defiance of the pull that drags all else downward. Together, billions of these little pods create a golden canopy that rides the sea's breath without ever sinking. Gaze beneath that golden canopy and the water transforms, surrendering its sunlit amber to a velvet indigo. The shift is gradual, like a slow exhale, as the light is swallowed layer by layer. Above, a shimmering haze of floating gold. Below, a deepening twilight where shapes become soft and mysterious. This gradient of color mirrors the immense quiet of the open ocean, a visual lullaby that draws the eye ever downward into the calm, into a darkness that has never known sunlight. The Sargasso Sea is a gentle giant of a filter, its floating tresses catching every drifting particle like a net woven from gold. Leaves, tiny creatures, and fragments of the wider sea all find a moment's rest here, held in a sun-dappled embrace. This collection of organic matter slowly breaks down, releasing nutrients that feed a hidden, floating world. It is a quiet sort of generosity, a cycle of life that requires no soil, only the patience of floating in place. In this way, the seaweed creates a rich cradle of sustenance for creatures perfectly adapted to life without shores. When the wind falls completely silent, the only sound is the faintest whisper of water threading through the weed. It is not a crashing wave, but a gentle, persistent ripple, like the ocean breathing in a slow, rhythmic sleep. This place holds a profound stillness, a sanctuary where the pulse of the planet slows to a serene rhythm. Nothing hurries here. The sea simply exists, in an eternal, unhurried cycle. To listen there is to understand that silence itself can be a kind of music, a deep and abiding peace. Are you still adrift in this golden calm? It's easy to lose yourself here among the whispers of the weed. So let's float a little longer into the quieter currents ahead. If you're enjoying this quiet escape, a like helps other night owls drift this way too. The Sargasso Sea is a geographical wonder, the only sea on Earth that possesses no land boundaries at all. Instead, it is cradled by 4 drifting ocean currents, like a silent embrace that shapes its edges. This peaceful perimeter creates a vast floating sanctuary where the waters remain calm and still, a serene pause in the ocean's endless motion. Separated from the rushing tides of the open Atlantic, this region feels like a hidden dream, wrapped in a stillness that stretches beyond sight. The quiet here is profound, a soft lullaby that rocks the soul into gentle awareness of the deep blue world. It's as if the ocean itself has paused to dream. Floating atop these quiet waters are massive meadows of Sargassum, a unique golden-brown seaweed that serves as a wandering ecosystem. Unlike other plants, this seaweed spends its entire life on the surface, never anchoring to the seabed. It drifts slowly in the gentle embrace of the North Atlantic gyre, moving with a grace that feels timeless. This floating forest is a soft, golden world where light filters through fronds like a hazy daydream. Each mat of seaweed sways in a silent rhythm, a dance of life that murmurs of peace and quiet endurance across the calm expanse. This floating forest acts as a soft nursery for many species, most notably the tiny settlers of the ocean. Young eels travel thousands of miles from distant rivers to reach these warm, cradling waters. Here, they drift in safety among the seaweed, suspended in a tranquil haven where time slows down. The Sargasso Sea holds them gently before they begin their long journey home, a nurturing pause in the vast cycle of existence. In these waters, the eels find a dreamlike safety, a quiet cocoon that nurtures them in a golden twilight. Softly, endlessly, they rock with the rhythm of the sea. The water within the Sargasso Sea is known for its striking, crystal-clear purity and a deep, shimmering sapphire hue. Because the currents keep the area sheltered, the water often remains exceptionally still, like a mirror of the sky. It reflects the soft colors of dawn and dusk, blending sea and heaven into one serene expanse of blue. This clarity feels almost sacred, a window into the depths of calmness where light plays softly on the surface. It is a place where the world seems to hold its breath, and all that remains is the gentle lap of water against a quiet, endless light. A specialized species, the Sargassum fish, has evolved a golden color that blends perfectly with the drifting seaweed. These small, quiet creatures glide through the floating meadows, hidden away in a peaceful golden haze of light and water. Their movements are slow and deliberate, like whispers in a silent, sun-dappled world. The camouflage is so complete that watching them is like seeing a dream materialize and then dissolve back into the amber hues. In this floating haven, the fish are echoes of the seaweed itself, drifting in a timeless calm where every breath is a soft secret of the deep. The sea is a vital waypoint for the ocean's gentle wanderers, like the graceful green sea turtle. These ancient travelers swim for thousands of miles across the open blue, and when they find the floating mats of golden sargassum, they pause. The seaweed becomes a drifting raft, a soft bed in the middle of nowhere. The turtle rests there, letting the slow current carry it along, a moment of weightless peace between distant feeding grounds. The sun warms its shell as the ocean breathes in long, slow rhythms, and the journey continues in perfect, unhurried harmony. The world above becomes a soft, sun-drenched haze, a lullaby of light and warmth, while the turtle drifts in its quiet, floating sanctuary. In the quiet depths of the Sargasso Sea, the water is arranged in invisible layers. Each layer holds its own temperature, its own taste of salt, creating a gentle boundary that you could never see with your eyes but can almost feel in your mind. In these stable, temperature-controlled pockets, tiny microorganisms float, never needing to swim, each one held in its perfect layer like a pearl in a soft current. These delicate communities thrive in a quiet world, a hidden garden beneath the surface, where the water itself is a cradle of life. They drift in a world without seasons, in a perpetual, gentle summer that never ends. It is a peaceful kingdom, hidden from the sun and the storm, where life moves at the slowest, most patient pace. Old sailors spoke of the Sargasso Sea with a hush in their voices. They told tales of ships that would enter the thick golden meadows and suddenly slow, as if the ocean had placed a gentle hand upon the hull. The seaweed would gather around the wood, and the vessel would drift, not stuck but simply lingering. Time itself seemed to stretch and soften. The wind would whisper through the floating reeds, a sound like old secrets. For those sailors, the Sargasso was a place of quiet mystery, a sea where the clocks of the world forgot to tick and the horizon held its breath. They said you could drift there for days and never feel the passage of time, only the gentle rock of the waves. The air above the Sargasso Sea is warm and heavy, like a blanket soaked in sunlight. A soft mist often rises from the water, blurring the line between sky and ocean until the whole world becomes one seamless blue. This atmospheric stillness is so complete that you might feel you are not sailing but suspended, floating in a timeless, endless space. There is no sharp horizon to guide you, just the gentle roll of the waves and the feeling that you have drifted into a dream, a place where the air holds you softly and the blue stretches on forever. It is a quiet, meditative vastness, a silence so deep you can hear the echo of your own thoughts. As night falls over the Sargasso Sea, the water awakens with its own kind of starlight. Tiny organisms begin to glow, their bioluminescence flickering like distant suns beneath the surface. The drifting forests of Sargassum become illuminated, each strand of gold shimmering with a soft, warm light. It is as though the ocean has remembered the night sky and painted it below. The water glitters with gentle sparks that dance around the seaweed, creating an underwater galaxy, a quiet, shimmering dreamscape where the boundary between sea and sky dissolves into a single, luminous embrace. In this moment, the Sargasso becomes a place of pure magic, a sea made of light and silence. You could watch for hours, lost in the gentle, glowing dance. Imagine the vastness of the open ocean, where the deep waters of the Atlantic begin to slow and circle in a graceful, quiet dance. This is the Sargasso Sea, the only sea on our planet without a shoreline to call its own. There is no land here, no coast, no edge of sand or rock to mark its border. Instead, the boundary is drawn by the gentle, rotating currents of the North Atlantic Gyre, a great ring of moving water that holds this heart of the ocean in a soft, circular embrace. The sea is a floating sanctuary, a place where the water rests and remains unbelievably still, drifting peacefully in a world of its own creation. Floating throughout these quiet waters are massive forests of golden brown seaweed, the Sargassum, which needs no root or anchor to the ocean floor. These are drifting meadows, vast and serene, moving with the pulse of the sea like slow, silent clouds beneath the sun. The seaweed forms a soft, protective canopy, a floating nursery where countless tiny creatures find shelter and peace. Seahorses, crabs, and minute shrimp hide and grow here, cradled in the golden strands, their lives unfolding in a slow, timeless rhythm far from the rush of the coasts. Within this tranquil world, one of nature's most mysterious journeys comes to its quiet end. The European eel travels thousands and thousands of miles from distant rivers, lakes, and streams, gliding through the dark to spawn only in the heart of the Sargasso Sea. It is a migration woven into the fabric of the earth, a deep and ancient call that brings them here. After their time in these warm, still waters, the tiny glass-like larvae are born, and they begin to drift softly, slowly, back toward the coasts of Europe and North Africa. They ride the currents as passengers of a silent, unseen voyage, a gentle return that takes years to complete. Because the circling currents draw so much toward the center, the Sargasso Sea often holds floating remnants of long-lost voyages. You might see a piece of weathered wood or a shard of sea-polished glass drifting in the stillness. These are not just debris but echoes. They tell silent stories of the wind and waves from centuries past, of ships and sails and distant shores. A piece of timber might have once been a part of a great sailing vessel, a glass fragment, a message bottle tossed from some faraway coast. They float now in this liquid museum, holding their secrets in the deep quiet. The water here has a character like no other. It is defined by an extraordinary deep blue hue, a color so rich it seems to pull the sky into the ocean. As you look closer, that blue fades into a warm, crystalline turquoise, and the clarity becomes breathtaking. The light from above filters down in soft, shimmering ribbons, like golden rain falling through the sea. These beams illuminate the floating Sargassum meadows, touching each strand with a gentle glow, turning the ocean into a cathedral of light and gold. It is a place of profound peace, a drifting dream where the water and the sky seem to become one. Deep within the floating Sargassum mats, a unique variety of small crabs and shrimp have evolved to live their entire lives. They are perfectly adapted to this hidden world, their bodies blending seamlessly with the golden hues of the seaweed. As the mats drift on the gentle currents, these tiny creatures move with them, suspended in a quiet, floating realm. It is a life of serene detachment, far from the hurried pace of the deeper ocean below. Their world is a delicate balance of light and water, a silent dance that only they know. Imagine the gentle swaying of the seaweed, like a mother rocking a cradle, as these small beings live out their days in absolute peace. The water here is clear and warm, filtering the sunlight into soft golden rays that caress the mats. In this tiny universe, every moment is a lullaby, and every creature is a note in the ocean's gentle song. And in the quiet depths of the Sargasso, the water holds a subtle warmth, often warmer and saltier than the surrounding ocean. This creates a gentle layering effect, where the warm currents glide smoothly over the cooler waters below. It is a delicate balance, a seamless transition that mirrors the soft rhythm of the sea. The water moves with such grace that it feels like a lullaby for the soul. This warm embrace cradles the hidden life, keeping the secrets of the deep safe and still. Picture the layers as soft blankets, one upon another, each carrying a different whisper of the sea. The warmth seeps into the hearts of all who drift here, a gentle reminder that the ocean is alive with kindness. It is a place where the hustle of the world fades, and only the quiet hum of existence remains. This region acts as a quiet crossroads for migratory sea turtles, who use the floating seaweed as a soft resting place during their long journeys. They drift alongside the golden meadows, finding sanctuary in the rhythmic pulse of the ocean. It is as if the sea itself whispers a welcome, inviting these ancient travelers to rest in its golden arms. The turtles float effortlessly, their shells like stones in a living, breathing cradle of light. Here, time slows down, and the journey becomes a meditation. The seaweed wraps around them like a comforting shawl, and the gentle current rocks them into a state of deep relaxation. In this sanctuary, the turtles dream of distant shores and starry nights, their spirits renewed by the ocean's tender care. To a sailor long ago, the Sargasso Sea seemed like a place of eternal stillness, where the wind would soften and the sails would drift quietly. It is a realm of profound silence, where the only sound is the rhythmic lap of water against the hull. In this tranquil expanse, time itself appears to slow down, and the worries of the world fade away. The sea becomes a mirror for the soul, reflecting only peace and quiet contemplation. It is a sacred space untouched by the rush of the modern world. The air is thick with stillness, and even the seagulls seem to pause in their flight. A sense of timelessness pervades every wave and ripple, like a painting that has come to life. Here, a sailor could find solace, lost in the gentle embrace of the sea. As evening falls over the Sargasso Sea, the horizon blends seamlessly into the starlit sky. The water transforms into a dark, mirrored surface, perfectly reflecting the soft glow of the cosmos. It is a vast, shimmering expanse where the stars above seem to meet the stars below, creating an endless ocean of light. Drifting here feels like floating through a dream, cradled by the night and surrounded by the quiet music of the universe. The peace is profound, a gentle hum that resonates through the very essence of the sea. Each star is a tiny lantern, guiding the soul into a deeper rest. The cool night air carries the scent of salt and infinity, and the world seems to hold its breath in awe. In this moment, you are not just in the ocean, you are part of it, woven into the fabric of a celestial lullaby. Imagine a sea that has no shores, no sandy beaches to greet the waves. The Sargasso Sea is a gentle miracle of geography. It is defined not by land, but by the arms of the ocean itself. 4 great currents cradle this water, swirling in a slow and endless dance. They create a rotating circle, a quiet embrace that holds the sea in place. Here, in the heart of the Atlantic, the waters are calm and deeply still. It is a peaceful cradle, far from any coastline. The only boundaries are the soft whispers of the currents. It is a place where the ocean sings a lullaby, and the world feels wrapped in water. A sea without shores, yet full of life and wonder. Within this tranquil sea, a golden forest drifts slowly. It is made of sargassum, a seaweed that floats freely without roots. These plants gather in vast, shimmering meadows. They sway gently with the rhythm of the currents, moving like silk in a breeze. The golden fronds create a warm and sheltered sanctuary. It is a haven for countless tiny creatures, a refuge from the deep blue. They move with the water like soft whispers, offering protection and peace. This is a floating world of light and life, hidden in the open ocean. A golden blanket that cradles the sea in quiet warmth. In this gentle meadow, life finds a soft home without borders. In these floating meadows, the golden seaweed becomes a tender nursery. It is a cradle for the smallest ocean dwellers, a place of beginnings. Tiny fish and delicate crabs drift among the fronds. They float safely, hidden from the vastness of the open ocean. The dense greenery forms a soft, protective canopy, a shield of leaves. This canopy hides them from curious eyes and gentle waves. It is a secret garden where life starts in tranquility. Every leaf is a refuge, a gentle holder of dreams. The seaweed sways like a mother rocking a child to sleep. In this sanctuary, the ocean whispers a soft lullaby. The currents move through the golden leaves, singing gently. From far away, the American and European eels journey to this quiet sea. They travel thousands of miles from distant rivers and silent lakes. Following an ancient call, they swim to these calm waters. In the depths of the Sargasso, they complete a long and rhythmic journey of life. They spawn in the stillness, a quiet dance of renewal. It is a sacred pilgrimage, a return to the very beginning. The currents sing a soft song, welcoming them home. The sea holds them in its eternal embrace. This ritual repeats, generation after generation, in peaceful continuity. The eels drift with the tides, in a timeless cycle under the stars. Their journey is a quiet prayer to the deep. Long ago, sailors spoke of this sea with a hint of fear. They whispered about the wind that would soften to a gentle breath. Their ships would drift motionless, held by the quiet currents under a timeless sky. The air would grow still, and the sails would hang limp. This stillness created a sense of eternity, a moment outside of time. It was as if they were floating through a dream without end. In that quiet, the world seemed to pause. The ocean became a mirror of the heavens, reflecting the stars. It is a place where time itself feels weightless and serene. Here, the sea holds a memory of ancient silence and peace, a soft, quiet drift. Sleep tight. The water here is often a deep, crystalline blue, a shade so pure it feels like something from a dream. It has an unusual clarity that allows the sunlight to filter down in soft, shimmering ribbons of gold and pale green. Looking into it would be like peering through liquid glass into a quiet, glowing cathedral. This transparency creates a luminous atmosphere beneath the surface, a world bathed in its own gentle internal light where shadows seem to dance slowly in a silent ballet. Because the currents rotate in a slow, endless circle, the Sargasso Sea gently collects floating debris and organic matter from across the vast Atlantic. Drifting wood, tiny seeds, and fragments of distant shores are carried here by the invisible hands of the ocean. All of these pieces come together, weaving a floating mosaic of nature's remnants on the surface. It is a quiet, drifting museum of journeys ended, turning softly in the grip of the clockwise current, a tranquil archive of the sea's own stories. The temperature of the water remains mild and comforting, a stable embrace that knows no winter. This unchanging warmth creates a perfect, protected haven for the specialized species that call this region home. The floating golden meadows of Sargassum do not simply survive here, they thrive in a state of perpetual, gentle summer. Life unfolds in a slow, dreamy rhythm, cradled in water that always feels like a soft and soothing bath, never knowing the shock of cold or the burden of seasonal change. In the quiet depths below the floating canopies, the water moves with a slow, rhythmic pulse, a heartbeat so faint it barely disturbs the golden forests above. The overall atmosphere is one of profound stillness, a suspension of time where everything is calm and hushed. This is a place where the great ocean itself seems to breathe in a slow, steady cadence, a deep and ancient respiration that rocks the drifting life above in an eternal, gentle lullaby. The quiet here isn't an absence of sound, it is a presence of peace. As you imagine this place, picture the endless horizon where the pale blue sky meets the shimmering gold of the floating seaweed. There is no land to break the view, just a vast, open expanse of tranquility stretching in every direction. This quiet meeting place of sea and sky drifts softly into infinity, unmarked and serene. And when the night comes, this whole gentle world fades into a deeper calm, drifting silently under the quiet, watchful gaze of the stars that dust the heavens like tiny, distant fires of comfort. Let the quiet carry you further now, deeper into the hush of this shoreless sea. All you need to do is float here, held by the golden stillness. Let us drift now into the heart of the Atlantic Ocean, where the Sargasso Sea rests like a quiet dream. The Sargasso Sea is a geographical wonder, for it is the only sea on Earth with no land boundaries. It is defined instead by 4 swirling ocean currents, gentle and slow. These currents act like soft, invisible walls, cradling a vast expanse of sapphire water in a permanent, rotating embrace. Picture this liquid cradle, turning endlessly under the sun, a quiet miracle in the middle of the Atlantic. There is no shore to touch, only the delicate balance of water holding water, creating a space that feels both infinite and intimate. Upon that surface, massive forests of sargassum float like golden brown clouds, shifting gently with the rhythm of the sea. This seaweed drifts peacefully, never rooting to the ocean floor. It creates a floating garden, a soft sanctuary where tiny creatures can nest and hide from the vastness around them. These mats form a wandering ecosystem, drifting softly across the North Atlantic, a world adrift in time. The golden strands weave a protective canopy, cradling life in its amber tendrils, a quiet haven where secrets of the deep can begin. In this floating nursery, the sea whispers its oldest stories of life held gently in suspension. This golden seaweed serves as a vital nursery for the endangered loggerhead sea turtle. These young turtles drift through the calm waters during their early years, finding refuge in the dense mats of sargassum. The seaweed provides a warm, protective canopy, shielding these small creatures from the open gaze of the deep. It is a safe cradle, where they can hide and grow in the soft embrace of the floating garden, surrounded by the gentle sway of the ocean. Here, time seems to slow down, allowing them to drift in peace. The warm water lulls them into a tranquil state, a gentle reprieve in their long journey. In a mysterious cycle of nature, the Sargasso Sea is the only place where American and European eels gather to spawn. These elusive creatures travel thousands of miles through the quiet depths, guided by an ancient instinct to return to these still waters. Their journey is a silent pilgrimage, drawn by forces we may never fully understand, to the one place on Earth that calls them home. In the luminous blue, they complete their life cycle, a profound mystery unfolding in the heart of the sea. And when their purpose is fulfilled, they slip back into the silent depths, leaving behind the next generation to begin the cycle anew. The water here is known for its striking clarity and a deep, luminous blue hue that reflects the vastness of the sky. Because the currents keep the water swirling in a slow, rhythmic circle, the sea remains remarkably still and transparent. It is like looking into a liquid mirror, where the line between sea and sky blurs into a single, endless blue dream. This clarity invites a sense of weightlessness, as if you could drift into the azure void and lose yourself in its peaceful embrace. The calm water holds a timeless quality, a place where the world breathes more slowly, and even the quietest thoughts become soft ripples on the surface. In this liquid mirror, the horizon disappears, and all that remains is the deep, silent blue. And so the Sargasso Sea drifts on, a quiet dream in the heart of the ocean, holding its secrets in the gentle swirl of its currents. Let your thoughts drift now to a place of serene beauty far out on the Atlantic Ocean. Here lies the Sargasso Sea, a realm of golden light and profound stillness. It is a sea unlike any other, wrapped in gentle currents and timeless mystery. Feel the calm wash over you as we explore this quiet world. For many, many centuries, sailors viewed the Sargasso Sea with a profound sense of quiet awe. There was a gentle fear in their hearts that their wooden ships might become caught forever in the thick, floating meadows of golden weed. They would often describe the experience as slowly drifting into a silent golden mirror, where the wind itself seemed to whisper softly and then fade away into the stillness. It was a place that felt removed from the ordinary world, a realm of peaceful mystery far from the familiar shores of home. Here time seemed to slow down, and the boundary between sea and sky became blurred and dreamlike. Modern science has gently uncovered another layer of this sea's quiet magic. The Sargasso Sea acts as a vast atmospheric filter, drawing in carbon dioxide from the air into its floating gardens with a tender, unhurried grace. This serene process helps the entire ocean breathe, softly balancing the chemistry of our planet's atmosphere with each passing moment. It is a peaceful cycle, hidden from our eyes, that works in a quiet rhythm day after day. Imagine this gentle sea as a lung, expanding and contracting without a sound, cleansing the air while you rest. Beneath that golden surface, a secret world has evolved into perfect harmony over countless years. Specialized fish, like the Sargassum fish, have bodies tinted in the same warm amber tones as the seaweed. They blend so completely that they become invisible, drifting unseen among the gentle fronds. These patient creatures move with the water's soft swell, living in a state of total tranquility without any rush or threat. It is a sanctuary of stillness where life simply is, floating in a dreamy embrace of perpetual calm. This region is often defined by a profound stillness that touches the soul. The surface of the water can rest like a polished sheet of glass, so calm and unbroken that it mirrors the sky above. This deep quietude creates a floating sanctuary, a sacred space where the only sound is the gentle lap of water against the drifting vegetation. It is a soft, repeating melody, a lullaby that soothes all your worries into welcome silence. Here, the world outside fades away, and you are held in a moment of perfect, healing peace. As the sun gently sets over the North Atlantic, the golden sargassum catches the warm amber light of the horizon. The entire sea transforms into a shimmering tapestry of light and shadow, drifting slowly like a living painting under the evening sky. Above, a canopy of distant stars begins to twinkle, one by one, in the deepening dusk. This is a moment of deep, quiet beauty that lingers in the memory like a cherished dream. It is a quiet end to the day, wrapping the world in a soft, golden glow of pure serenity. As the stars emerge and the sea rests in darkness, the Sargasso continues its quiet work. It remains a floating sanctuary, a golden mirror of peace, where the world breathes softly. So let your breathing slow, and in your dreams, drift upon these calm and golden waters. Let the stillness carry you into a deep and restful sleep. Floating in the North Atlantic Ocean, there is a sea unlike any other. It is a place with no land boundaries, no sandy shores to mark its edges. Instead, 4 great ocean currents hold it softly in a peaceful circle. The Gulf Stream, the North Atlantic Current, the Canary Current, and the North Equatorial Current all move around this region, never rushing in. Together, they cradle a vast pool of calm water, a quiet, rotating ring. It is as if the ocean itself has made a gentle cradle, a place where the waters rest. This is the Sargasso Sea, a realm of stillness and light. The sea takes its name from a special kind of seaweed, sargassum. It is a golden brown color and it floats in large, peaceful mats on the surface. These floating meadows drift with the currents, never anchoring to anything solid. In the sunlight, the Sargassum glows with a warm, honeyed light. Beneath these drifting islands, tiny creatures find a safe, warm home. Baby fish, little shrimp, and drifting larvae hide among the soft, leafy fronds. This seaweed creates a world all its own, a shelter that journeys across the endless blue. It is like a gentle cradle, rocking the smallest of lives in the quiet depths. And within this cradle, life unfolds in a slow, timeless dance. Some creatures spend their whole lives here, never knowing land. There are tiny crabs, no bigger than a fingernail, that live only on these floating weeds. They cling tightly to the Sargassum, drifting wherever the currents take them. In all their life, they will never touch sand or rock. They eat, sleep, and raise their young in this moving garden, suspended between sky and deep water. These little crabs are perfectly adapted to their floating home, their bodies colored to match the seaweed's golden shadows. They know only the soft sway of the weeds, the rhythm of the sea. It is a gentle, drifting existence, a life of pure ocean peace. The water here is incredibly clear. It is a deep, shimmering blue like liquid sapphire. Because it is so clear, sunlight can travel far down into the depths. It filters through the water in gentle, soft rays, lighting up the world below. This creates a quiet, glowing atmosphere, peaceful and serene. The deep blue becomes a cathedral of light, where every tiny creature seems to float in a dream. In this water, the world above and the world below mingle softly. The water seems to hold its breath, allowing light to linger. Every glance into this water feels like a meditation, a quiet gift of the sea. For centuries, sailors knew this region by a different name. They called it the horse latitudes. Here, the winds would often soften to a whisper, and the great sailing ships would become still. They would drift, quietly, waiting for a breeze that might not come for days. It was a place of profound oceanic peace, though sometimes a place of eerie calm. The silence was so deep that sailors could hear the creak of their own ship's timbers, the lapping of water against the hull. This is the home of the Sargasso Sea, a timeless, drifting world. In its stillness, you can feel the heartbeat of the ocean itself, slow and eternal. Here, the world becomes a soft, endless dream. Far out in the Atlantic, where the waters turn deep and blue, lies a sea unlike any other. It is not bounded by land, but by slow, circling currents that wrap around a quiet heart. This is the Sargasso Sea, a gentle cradle in the middle of the ocean, where life comes to rest, to drift, to dream. Here, the world moves at a softer pace, and every current carries a quiet story. Deep beneath the surface, long and elegant travelers glide through the dark. Giant American and European eels have journeyed for thousands of miles, tracing invisible paths across the vast ocean. They are coming home to these warm, still waters, a sacred resting place where their long migration pauses. In this floating sanctuary, they gather their strength and begin the next mysterious chapter of life, a quiet renewal hidden from the world above. The currents that surround this sea rotate with an ancient, unhurried rhythm, creating a giant, gentle embrace. As they turn, they gather fragments from distant shores, a leaf from a Caribbean tree, a seed from an African coast, a tiny shell from a northern beach. These drifting treasures are collected like memories in a slow, spinning mosaic. Everything floats together in a peaceful circle, carried by the soft breath of the sea, never rushed, never lost, just held in a timeless, watery dance. On the surface, golden meadows stretch toward the horizon, alive with Sargassum seaweed. Each delicate frond holds a secret to its own weightlessness. Tiny, air-filled pods, called pneumatocysts, act like soft little balloons, lifting the seaweed toward the sun. These bubbles are quiet miracles, allowing the golden canopy to float without effort, drifting with the faintest whispers of the wind. It is a floating forest that never sinks, a soft, endless raft that sways with the ocean's gentlest lullabies. The water itself carries a steady, pleasant warmth, a constant embrace that never chills. This cozy blanket of warmth wraps around every creature, from the tiniest drifting plankton to the shimmering fish that dart through the golden fronds. A delicate balance of floating life thrives here, suspended in the liquid light. The temperature never startles, it never changes too much, it just holds everything in a tender, invisible cradle, where the smallest beings feel safe enough to glow. As the day draws to a close, the sun melts into the Sargasso with a slow, golden sigh. The horizon blurs until the sky and sea become one seamless expanse of color, soft blues melting into gentle pinks and deep purples. There is no edge, no boundary, just an infinite space where the soul can drift without direction. In this twilight hour, the ocean breathes in a slow, steady lullaby, and the whole world feels like a quiet, floating dream, a place to rest, to let go, and to be gently carried into the night. Imagine the Sargasso Sea, a gentle mystery of the deep, so soft and still. It is the only sea on Earth with no land boundaries, no shores to embrace it. Instead, four swirling currents cradle this quiet floating sanctuary in the vast North Atlantic. The water is warm, a deep indigo that feels like a soft breath. This place is a floating dream, a sea without edges, drifting in a vast quietness that holds you in its gentle arms. Within this calm, vast meadows of Sargassum float on the surface, a golden-brown seaweed not rooted to the seabed. These floating forests are a peaceful nursery for countless tiny fish and sea turtles. The mats are soft and warm, swaying in the still water like a quiet lullaby. They create a deep world where life begins softly, a golden sanctuary in the vast blue. The sunlight filters through, a warm, gentle touch making the Sargassum glow. And in this golden expanse, baby loggerhead sea turtles find their sanctuary. They travel thousands of miles through deep waters to reach this safe place. The dense seaweed mats offer them a warm hideaway and a rich source of food as they grow. Here, in the vast stillness, they are cradled by the gentle sea. The indigo water surrounds them like a soft blanket, a deep, quiet cradle for their early life. The waters of the Sargasso Sea are a deep, shimmering indigo, clear and still. This stillness lets sunlight filter down in long, quiet beams, a soft, warm light touching the deep. Slow movements of the deep are illuminated, gentle shadows dancing in the vast silence. The light feels like a whisper, a soft golden glow in the deep blue. This is a place where the world slows and the water becomes a still, warm lullaby. In a wonderful biological connection, the Sargasso Sea is the ancestral birthplace of giant Atlantic eels. After living years in distant rivers, they drift back across the ocean to these quiet waters. They return to complete their life cycle, a deep, soft instinct guiding them home. This vast, gentle sea is where life begins anew, a soft circle in the deep. The still water cradles them, a warm and quiet end and beginning. The North Atlantic gyre slowly turns, spinning a quiet, clockwise dance in the deep. This motion gathers the sea's floating fragments, gently pulling them into a center of calm. Golden Sargassum weed, carried by currents, collects there in soft, tangled mats. It forms a floating haven, a golden island that moves with the rhythm of the ocean. In this place of profound stillness, a secret world blooms. It is a peaceful collection point for organic debris, a suspended garden where life drifts without hurry. The warm water cradles it all in a slow embrace, like a memory of the ancient sea. This motion is so slow that time itself seems to pause, waiting. Within those drifting fronds, tiny crabs and translucent shrimp have made their entire lives. They never descend to the cold, dark floor below. They exist in a warm, amber-lit world, their delicate bodies hidden among the golden leaves. They cling to the weed, swaying with the softest swells, as if listening to a lullaby only they can hear. Their world is weightless and still, a cradle of sargassum that rocks with the pulse of the deep. They are born adrift. They live adrift, and when their time ends, they sink silently through the blue, never having known the sand. They drift in a golden silence, their tiny claws holding fast to the only home they have ever known. Sailors of old whispered tales of the Sargasso Sea, a place where the wind grew shy and fled. Their wooden ships would glide into a realm of strange, profound quiet. The sails went slack, and the water became a dark mirror, reflecting only the sky's endless gray or gold. Around them, the Sargassum weed stretched to the curved horizon, and ocean turned to meadow. To gaze upon it was to feel unmoored from time itself, as if they had sailed into a dream that had no shores. The stillness was so deep it felt like a breath held forever. The sailors felt a peace so profound it was almost a kind of sorrow, a longing for something unnamed. The water here holds a deep, inviting warmth, like a bath left out in the sun. It never cools, spreading a gentle heat that slows everything down. That constant warmth fuels the floating gardens, keeping the golden weed lush and vibrant. Nutrients drift on unseen currents, feeding the tiny creatures that live among the fronds. The balance is delicate, a silent dance of give and take. The warmth seeps into every leaf, every drifting shrimp, a heartbeat that sustains the whole floating world. It is a slow-motion paradise, a pocket of life suspended in the vast Atlantic. It is a warmth you can almost taste, a salty, gentle blanket draped over the sea. When twilight steals the sun, the Sargasso Sea transforms into a perfect mirror for the stars. The water turns to liquid night, the reflected constellations shimmering with every slow ripple. The drifting mats of seaweed begin their quiet, rhythmic dance. They sway not with wind, but with the softest whispers of the deep ocean currents, a motion so slight it feels like the sea is breathing. Each golden frond stirs like a dreamer in sleep. The surface is utterly calm, a glass held up to the heavens. And in that hushed darkness, the Sargasso becomes a cradle for the cosmos, holding the stars gently as they wheel overhead. And if you listen, you might hear the faintest sigh, a music made of water and light. The Sargasso Sea is a drifting mystery, the only sea on Earth with no land boundaries. It is defined by the gentle, circular flow of 4 ocean currents, held in a warm, peaceful embrace. Imagine this vast, floating sanctuary in the North Atlantic, cradled by the North Atlantic Gyre, where the waters move so softly, you can almost feel the quiet. It exists as a boundless blue haven, swaying gently with the rhythm of the deep. No shores, no borders, just the endless soft current carrying you into a still, warm dream on the ocean. Feel the warmth of the embrace, the slow circle of water that holds this sea in a quiet lullaby. It's a place where the ocean whispers and the world fades into soft, blue stillness. And upon this quiet sea, massive forests of Sargassum float, a golden brown seaweed that lives its entire life adrift. These soft, warm mats are nurseries, sheltered havens where tiny creatures find refuge in the quiet currents. Imagine the gentle sway of the fronds, each one glowing like a soft golden whisper on the deep blue. They cradle life in a drifting embrace, offering warmth and protection in the vast, open sea. It's a floating meadow, silent and nurturing, where the smallest beings can rest in peace. Feel the texture, soft as a lullaby, as these golden islands drift with the slow, deep pulse of the ocean. They are a warm blanket on the water, a quiet world for the tiny and the tender. From these golden mats, a unique world emerges, where the seaweed acts as a natural floating island, weaving together species from distant oceans. They mingle in a slow, rhythmic dance, soft and unseen in the quiet currents. For migratory fish, these drifting mats are sacred resting points, offering stillness during long, silent journeys across the deep. Imagine the gentle gatherings, the quiet collisions of life in this floating realm. Every frond holds a secret whisper of the sea, a warm embrace for those who travel the vast blue. Here, boundaries blur, and all is held in a swaying stillness, a soft sanctuary on the infinite water. Feel the slow dance, the warm mingling of lives in this drifting world. It's a place where the ocean's rhythm cradles every creature in a deep, peaceful lull. And as you drift deeper, the waters become known for their crystal clear clarity, so pure that soft sunlight sinks deep into the blue. This transparency brings a feeling of weightlessness, as if you are floating in a gentle dream. The ocean and the sky seem to merge, blending into one endless shimmering veil that wraps you in quiet stillness. Look down and see the light play in the liquid depths, each ray a soft whisper of warmth. It's a place where you lose yourself in the clear, vast water, suspended in a warm, silent embrace. Feel the stillness soak into you as the blue light calms your deepest thoughts. Here, the surface and the deep become one, a seamless, floating expanse of peace. In these quiet depths, European eels begin a magnificent and mysterious pilgrimage, traveling thousands of miles from silent rivers to the heart of the Sargasso Sea. Here they spawn in the deep, quiet waters, completing an ancient ritual that whispers through the ages. Once the journey is done, the tiny larvae drift peacefully back toward distant coastlines, carried by soft, slow-moving currents. Imagine that silent drift, a return to origins guided by the warm, gentle pulse of the sea. It's a cycle of life, soft and eternal, cradling these tiny lives in a warm, flowing journey home. Feel the slow current carry you too, into a deep, restful sleep on the gentle waters. In the end, all returns to the quiet, to the warm embrace of the Sargasso Sea. Sailors in olden days feared the Sargasso Sea, for they believed the thick, golden seaweed would trap their ships forever in its gentle, unyielding grasp. They whispered of the sea of stillness, where the wind grew so soft it felt like a warm breath on your skin, and the world seemed to pause in a quiet, golden haze. It was a place of deep, velvety calm, where the ocean lay wide and still, like a vast, warm sheet of amber silk. The very air felt thick with quiet, holding the ships in a timeless embrace that felt almost tender. They said that in those waters you could hear the silence, a soft, pulsing quiet that lulled you into a sense of eternal peace. The Sargasso Sea is a vital sanctuary, a hidden cradle in the vast Atlantic, where the American eel seeks out the specific salinity and warmth to ensure the next generation. It is a place of profound biological renewal, tucked away from the rushing currents of the wider ocean. In these quiet, deep waters, life begins anew, cradled in the soft, nurturing arms of the sea. The eels journey from distant freshwater homes, driven by an ancient, silent call to spawn in this warm, still haven. Here, amidst the golden seaweed, they release their eggs into the gentle depths, and the cycle of life turns with a soft, relentless rhythm hidden from the world. Because the currents move in a slow, clockwise dance, the Sargasso Sea acts as a giant, gentle collector of floating objects. From ancient driftwood, weathered and smooth, to drifting seeds on their long voyages, the sea gathers these fragments into a quiet, floating archive. It is a museum of the ocean's travels, held in the soft, amber light that filters through the seaweed. Each piece floats in a state of perpetual calm, telling stories of distant shores and forgotten storms. The sea keeps them all a tender collector of memories in its warm, golden heart. Over centuries, the collection grows, a silent testament to the sea's gentle power, holding everything in a soft, timeless embrace. The water temperature here remains pleasantly warm and inviting, creating a soft thermal blanket that supports a diverse array of specialized marine life. Tiny crabs and shrimp blend perfectly with the amber hues of the floating algae, their shells so delicate they seem like whispers of light. They drift in a state of perpetual calm, moving with a slowness that defies the rush of time. In the golden glow, they appear as tiny jewels, perfectly at peace in the warm, cozy embrace of their floating world. The water holds them gently, a soft liquid lullaby that rocks them in the quiet depths. Here, in the stillness, they are safe from the turbulence of the open ocean, cradled by the algae's amber arms. To look upon the Sargasso Sea is to witness a landscape of liquid gold and deep indigo, where the horizon stretches out in a soft, unbroken line. It is a realm of profound silence and stillness, where the only sound is the rhythmic, gentle pulsing of the tide, like a deep, slow heartbeat. The vastness wraps around you, so warm and deep, it feels like sinking into a velvety darkness. In this quiet expanse, you sense the world fade away, leaving only the soft caress of the sea and the quiet hum of existence. The stillness is so complete, it seems to hold the secrets of the ocean in a golden hush, a place where time itself comes to rest. A sea without shores, the Sargasso is cradled by 4 drifting currents that spin a gentle gyre, a quiet sanctuary in the heart of the North Atlantic. Vast golden meadows of Sargassum algae drift upon the waves, floating forests that cradle countless tiny lives in a warm, sunlit nursery. European and American eels journey through silent depths to gather in these calm waters, releasing their eggs where life cycle renews in a peaceful embrace. Sunlight filters through remarkably still, clear water in soft, shimmering ribbons, turning the Sargassum into a glowing, sun-drenched carpet of light. Tiny crabs and shrimp, painted in golden hues, spend their entire lives drifting in the soft sway of the seaweed, safely tucked away in the quiet current. Ancient mariners whispered of a sea where the wind forgets to breathe, where ships rest in a timeless slumber, the horizon blurring into a soft, golden haze. The water here is saltier and warmer, a gentle blanket that cradles a delicate world of floating life in its nutrient-rich embrace. Tiny air-filled bladders lift the golden Sargassum, sending forests adrift on the slow, peaceful turn of the North Atlantic gyre. Deep beneath the golden surface lies a silent, midnight blue world, where water becomes still and cool, a layered realm of shifting light and shadow. From above, it is a soft amber smudge on the deep turquoise Atlantic, a place of slow movement and quiet endurance, drifting in a timeless rhythm. And so our drift through the Sargasso Sea comes to a gentle close. The golden mats and silent depths have carried us far tonight, and now it is time to let those images fade into sleep. If these quiet waters helped you find rest, please leave a like to let me know, and if you subscribe, I will be here whenever you need, a gentle voice to guide you into dreams. Good night, sleep well, and somewhere in the endless Atlantic. The Sargassum still drifts in its warm, peaceful gyre just for you. Rest now, everything is exactly as it should be.